I just filmed the intro and then realised the camera wasn't on. Anyway, welcome to part, it's 16 or 17 of the CB350F restoration. And as you can see by a little bit of footage, she's running well. The only thing is I haven't tuned the carburetors. I've just got it running now. I had a wiring issue with the starter. The switch off board is configured differently to the original one, so I just made a little patch wire and it's all good. So all we need for roadworthy now is a couple of sprockets. I've got a new chain, but I need the 2 sprockets and a seat cover. I think that's it, and we just got to tune up the carbies. It's 6 o'clock now, and I want to go in and edit this, so I've not spent any time getting it running properly. The thing is, I wanted to hear 4 cylinders. I wanted to hear no knocks or funny noises. We got there, so I'm just going to go in and edit this now. And in the last one, I think I'll just wait till the last one, because all I've got to do is put a seat cover on, a couple of bits, and go down and get it roadworthy, and that's when we'll strap a GoPro to it and go for a ride and all that sort of stuff. So it is very, very good. I'm really, really happy. The only thing I'm not happy about, how could I forget? I got Peter new brakes to make new hydraulic lines. This is the original one that I didn't replace because it's been replaced sometime in the past. The original one that was on there was, on the lower one, was all sort of crazed and cracked in the casing. I am going to get him to redo this one and take 3 inches off, because we're using low riser bars, which means this thing is question mark shaped when it's in. I don't like that. I want it to just come straight down into that junction underneath the headlight. The other thing I'm not happy about is I'm still waiting on the brake caliper overhaul kit. That should come soon because it's ex-USA. No, it's ex-England, ex-UK. I got the master cylinder overhaul from the United States, but the Suzuki stuff from Cruise and Image annoys me because they have a postage ban at the moment and they're not posting anything out, and these people didn't stick it on the site. So had I seen that, I would never bought from them, and it was in August. And so I might have to eat the cost of a master and caliper overhaul for the Suzuki as well, and then when the other stuff comes, just, I've got spares. What do you do? I'm not using the pistons anyway. So the other thing that's not great is YouTube advertising, and I'm getting people saying to me, why are you sticking so many ads on? I used to put ads at the beginning, and then about 12 months ago I started putting them in the center as well of the video. Now I just enable ads because it means, you know, a few $100 a month in advertising revenue, which along with the patrons really helps support the channel. So that being said, I can't really do much about that, and I've noticed when I'm watching YouTube videos as well, there's lots and lots of people, or lots and lots of videos getting afflicted in the same way. So with that all being said, overall wrapped. So I hope you enjoy. Time to discuss the cock. I'm referring to the petcock, and that is, in Aussie terms, the fuel tap. I made this small steel blank for when I ran vinegar and all that sort of stuff through the tank. I'm just cutting around it with a blade, so I don't want to lift any paint. Because I wanted it to seal against bare metal. Yeah, it's got a bit of gasket crap around it. You don't want that getting in there. That's all it is. I made a bit of gasket paper and used a couple of Starley bolts. So that's a good little spare to have for whatever reason. I might use Scotch-Brite on there because I don't want any crap getting in there. Now these have an oval O-ring, or at least that was what was in there, and it was all clagged up with this stag looking stuff. No good for what we want. Honda sell the O-rings, I think they're about $15 or so. I'm not going that way. I just went down to bearing wholesalers and bought the 2mm by 27 OD and 23 ID O-ring, and that sits absolutely perfectly in there. The problem is she wants to bounce out all the time, so I might stick, that's how it goes. And of course when we go to put it in, it's going to do that. So I might just put a small bit of Honda Bond around there. I'm going to get some Scotch-Brite and clean that up. That will hold it in the way it's meant to, and we can stick it on. Okay, I'm just going to pop that base off. I didn't tighten that intentionally. Whoops, there's the O-ring and the strainer. And a couple of bolts that are Phillips by the look of it. Right, so that's cleaned up as best I can clean it up. This isn't Honda Bond, but it's exactly the same stuff. I still need just to put those cases together for the project bike. and I'm just going to be ginger with this and put a very small amount in there. Running around that channel, I don't want it anywhere but in that channel. It's just got to hold the seal. And your O-ring should behave itself like a good boy and sit in there. Like thus. I'm just going to clean around. Oh, see, it already wants to come out. It's a bastard of a thing. As long as it doesn't, there's a fuel filter in this too, so I'm just going to wipe around the outside. And that is going to go there. And that should keep it. I'm just pressing it and taking it off to have a look. Yes, that is it. Right, so where's the screwdriver? And this is where you want to sort of use your mechanical aptitude and feel it snug down. You should feel it just pull in. I'll just start these 6 mils. Going to eyeball it around the periphery again, and it doesn't look to have come out at all. And we should just feel it turn and then stop. That's it. Then we're going to put this guy back in. And that guy in. I might just lubricate around there so it doesn't gather, it doesn't grab that O-ring. I reckon you can just use a bit of CRC for that. Just go around there so it doesn't grab. And snug that up and should be good. I reckon that'll do. That'll do it. And then we have a fuel tap. And we've got where I colour sanded it and all that sort of stuff, but I don't think that matters. That's the way it's supposed to be. Now I'm putting aftermarket coils in this bike, and they don't space the same as the original equipment, so we can try and modify the other brackets as it's sideways, but I actually want them sitting like the like the OE ones do. I can see where that is. And so what I need to do is I can move these wires, and then I can measure how big I need to make those spaces so that the coils sit neatly under there. I don't want them jammed up against the frame, and I'm not going to drill another hole in the backbone. I'm just going to make aluminium spaces to space that out from there, the correct amount. Give it a couple of mil clearance between the frame and the coil body, and then this one will use a rectangular one that meets up with this hole and mounts, and I can just drill it and tap it and just run a 6 mil into there. And that is a much better, or at least I think it's a far better, method of doing it. Right, so we've got a bit of a parts haul. The 354, the restoration bike, had this one, and this had operable brakes, although the line that came off it was all sort of tangled. The fluid in it was clean, but in being tangled, the outer casings perished. And so I thought, yeah, have a new one made. And of course, that's what we've done here. The other, probably should have had the other one made too, but it was in very, very good condition. It looks new. We've also got to think about replacing the kit, the master cylinder overhaul kit. I've taken this out of its packaging. That's it there. The original one components are there, and also new copper washers for the lines and the banjo bolts, and nipples as well. And these nipples are too long, so we're going to have to do something about those. The where's the other stuff I had? Oh, here. That's the other line I was talking about, and that's as fresh as the day it was made. There's nothing at all wrong with that, so I'm reusing it. and the numbers on it are the right ones and all that sort of other guff. Of course, that is the brake switch, and that sort of goes like that on the bike. So we can sort of pop this all together in a sort of a haphazard way, I guess. It's not imperative that we do it, but you know, it is what it is. I'm just going to take that out, and that way I can mount it on the bike. I can nip these up a little bit, and they won't come to any it won't leak everywhere or anything like that. So that would just go like that into the bottom of the thing. I might just blow that up with compressed air on the off chance that anything got in. So that sort of sits like that on the bike. That sort of has a bolt going through. I've got it in a bag somewhere. There it is, into the headstock. And then of course you've got the brake switch, which looks pretty dirty. Believe it or not, I cleaned it, but it just didn't do a great job. So we'll just have to tighten that up. So they all have to be tightened. It's sitting loose for the moment. But that's basically from your master cylinder to your caliper, and that's all sort of sorted now. So that can be tightened up later. I'm not worried about it. So we've got a big bag here. That's all the old lines. The Suzuki one, the two Honda 350s, and the or the Honda 350 and the 750. I'm not throwing any of this out until I literally have the bikes roadworthy and on the road. Just on the off chance there's quibbles or any of that sort of thing, I'm not particularly interested. I can revert back to the original kit. So that can all go away, and once the bike's on the road, that goes straight in the bin. Now, there's a couple of master cylinders. I'm still waiting on this stupid cruise and image thing. I don't know if I'm going to get it. It's been too long now. It's been the start of August, and we're now approaching, well, we're not far off November. But we do have to have a look at this. This is the master from the 350. And I think the first thing I'll do is I'll run the thinner through it and clean it all out. And then we can put the thing together, and then that can go on the bike. The grip, the thing can go on the bike. The lines can go on the bike. It's just another thing that completes it. This kit looks fairly self-explanatory. I'm just going to smear a bit of rubber grease. This is proper castor oil based stuff. I always say this whenever I bang on about these brake things. And I'm just going to stretch him over. And the cup, bloody hell, it's got to stretch a fair way, and then it'll go over that step. So that's it there. The rest of it's really, really easy. All it is obviously, I'm waiting for that to dry. I've been washing it out with thinner, and I gave it a little bit of 2000 grit, and just to sort of smooth it a bit inside. There's a cup that sort of plugs in the bottom of that spring, and the spring's solid at the other end. Of course, that will sit like that. That goes in first, and then that check valve there goes up against that piston, if you know what I mean. The one we just lost. Then, off the end of that, you've got a flat washer, and this clip which holds the whole thing in, and then that holds the dust boot in. So it's just a matter of feeding it all in bit by bit. I'm just going to go wash my hands properly, and I shall return. I'm just going to get a bit of this on my pinky, my little pinky, and yeah, around the inside of there. That should be enough. And we'll drop that guy in. That check valve goes up against there. There's a hole there. So you should be able to see it. And then we stick this guy in. And it's really, really quick to do. There's a bit of grease around here. We don't want this turning back. It has to go in the right way, otherwise the thing won't work. Probably upside down is easier, and then you can sort of guide him in the right way. Like that. Yeah, just have a good look at it, eyeball it. Just make sure it's the right way around. I just want to get my little rivet ready. Where's my little rivet that I was using? Just around the circumference. And nice clean rag. And we'll just push him home. And there will be an element of resistance, which is there, and I'm going to push him down and then stick the rivet in there. And that hole I drilled, like that, except someone's an idiot, forgot to put that in. So I'm going to go put this in, get the clip in, then we can concentrate on doing the other bit. Actually, I forgot to put that in too. Who's a dickhead? We put that in, then we put that on, and then we push the whole thing down and hold it back with a rivet. That's the thinking. Well, I've come into work early. This master cylinder cap for the 350 looks knackered. I can get another one, but in the meantime, I might just try and dress it up on the lathe a bit. See how we go, hey? Yeah. Right, we got some parts to put on, so we've got everything done now. We've got the master rebuild, and I've skimmed this. I've taken a good 0.5 millimetre off the top on the same angle, beveled it, and also taken off another 0.5 millimetre off the edges, just because I had trouble centering it. That's not paint, that's anodized. So, you know, we can't paint it because obviously brake fluid in your hands with a bit of brake fluid on them might cause problems and all that sort of stuff. There was black between this stuff left, and it looked kind of like a box of chocolates or something off a merry-go-round. It didn't look particularly good. So, anyway, look, by the time you buy one of these and get it here, shipped here to Oz, you're not going to get much change out of $100, so I'm really pleased with that. So that can go back on there, like that, and look, oh, it's not on properly, but yeah, you get the picture. And I think we'll start sticking this stuff in the bike. Makes more sense to put the brake switch on first because it's behind, and I've also cleaned the terminals. I don't know what this is like, I've never seen it run, but I will tell you this much, that feels terrible. What the heck is going on with this? That's not going to work. Just a moment. I'll put the Richard Graham headgear of goodness on so we can really see what we're doing. Oh, it's in there, it's just stretched, I think. Hang on a minute. Oh, it's not lost you yet. And we want this to stay clean inside, obviously. See what this is like, hey? That sounds a bit better. And just screw it onto the lower tree. I don't know if you can see, because I can't. That'll go in there somewhere. Kind of like that. Right, so it's got a mirror mount on it. It's got a few goodies on it that I need. These are different from the Suzuki ones, and I had them crossed up. I had it the wrong way around. Just going to make sure I get that the right way. I believe it's that way. And that will just go over. The only thing I've got, I haven't got the original bolts for it, but I do have Honda bolts, XL250 ones with an 8mm head. There are 6mm threads, that'll be fine. I got a bunch of surplus stuff done or plated when I was doing Dave's bike, and there is that 500 to do as well, and I'm actually sorely tempted to do it, but I'm not sure that I'm ready to at the moment. I don't know, my wife isn't ready for me to do that sort of stuff at the moment, but I've got a hole in my pocket. But you know what, it's all good, we'll figure it out. A problem because this hose is too long. I've got low-rise bars on it, and so we've got a lot of slack. These have an offset. That is supposed to be set to the end of the cylinder. Then that boot sort of fits on, if you know what I mean. You have to put the offset the other way around to clear the tacho, and then sort of snake it in there. But the problem with it is, it's not going to look as good as I wanted it to. It's going to sort of come out like that. I don't know that I can do an awful lot about it. I've tried different ways with that. Right, take two. If I don't make sense or this is disjointed, it's because I started doing this last night and I was really, really tired. And you know when you get tired, you start, we're going to do this and undo this nut. And it didn't make sense, and I was drowsy, and then you're sitting there going, oh, I've got to get a spanner, and then I've got to... Oh, it was terrible. So I had a sleep and came back. I've taken bad English. I've taken the peg off. I'll give it a clean. Powder coating looks beautiful. There's a brake lever, and this was, I don't know if I'm including this bit or not, that's the new old stock part. That's the bit that I've lost. And I went through every box under the house. I thought I might have accidentally stuck it in a box of Starlet parts, but inadvertently I didn't. I've got to tap in there and clean that out. That's the height adjuster for the pedal. And of course it's easier to get on without the peg there. So I'm just going to pop that through. I think it goes in from this way. If I can get in there to start it. And you can't see because my fat mitts are in the way, but it goes sort of like that. And you can adjust the height of the pedal. Pardon me, I'm going to turn that right down. Where is the spring? Right, so we've got a spring that's been nicely plated. Incidentally, well, the cost of this came in a bag with a label on it. This thing here, what do you call it? Brake pivot. And I paid $48, including postage, and I thought that was good. The other one is here somewhere, and I'll just use it on the special, the other bike. I like new kit anyway. This has got a dot on it, which coincides with a dot on the pedal, which is there. That's the original pedal from the bike. It's been tripolated. And of course, I've got this spring, and that's going to go around the frame member and around the pedal to give it tension. And we've got a look. It's going to go. It's actually a bit of a prick to do this. I'm not really sure the best way. That's not the best way, doing it like that. But anyway, we'll start again. I'm doing this thing wrong. I've got the arm being held in with the cable tie. I always use white cable ties as temporary ones because you get them in a pack with black and white and all this sort of stuff, mainly black and white. And the black ones I always use on the bike, but these things are temporary so you can cut them off and chuck them. I've got a 6mm bolt there holding that in while I stretch the spring over because it wants to ride off the end of the spline. I'm going to just loosen that now. Hopefully it's going to stay. And then put the 8mm bolt in. It just wants to ride off all the time, and I don't like that. See what I mean? It wants to rotate. Shit, it's coming out again. That's not good. Hang on a sec. Silly. So I'm just going to tighten it down again, but I think that's moved on the spline again. Just a minute. Well, that wasn't terribly pleasant. I've got it lined up. It's got a lot of tension on it, but I think that's how it's supposed to be. Can put this in. Where's the bolt and the washer? And then we can set the height of the pedal up according to that with this bolt here, which I might have to use the slightly longer one there now. I can't think about another way of doing it, which is better than that. I think that's right. It does look awfully close too. Right, so we're now starting to already use John Gibbons donated split pins. I need another one of these because it's the same between the clevis pin and the brake arm, the stay arm. That's probably going to do that. And of course we always use my father-in-law's. I'm always getting flat washers and spring washers and other bits and pieces out of there. So anyone who believes I don't use the stuff I'm given is wrong, because I do. Particularly consumables like this stuff. And there's that little split pin there. Of course you have the round end facing forward. I think it's very important to follow that sort of thing to a T. The Honda engineers put it there for a reason, and that would have been one of safety. It never ceases to amaze me that people change the specifications on these things, ignoring what the engineers have done. Great example is this fork brace here. It runs underneath the guards on the other side, and it's just that point halfway down the leg which gives it some support. You've got to connect it at the bottom where the axle is and at the top where the triple tree is, but I think it's important to leave that sort of thing. Even if you're shortening guards for a scrambler or a brad or whatever you're doing, I do think it's important to leave that brace there. And one bloke I used to watch quite a bit, he said, look, I've been riding these things for years, I've never noticed the difference, and that's probably true, but I don't think if you're publishing on YouTube or any sort of public forum, you should be advertising the fact that you're omitting some of the kit that the bikes came with. This is a spring for the brake. It's a new one because I don't think I could find the one that was there before. This is for the brake light switch, for the real one. I'm just going to try. Oh yeah, I can get it through that way. It's broader on the bottom where the pivot is for the brake pedal. So I'm just going to poke that through there, which is fairly straightforward, and then that will set up somehow like that, and that will probably require adjusting down. Right, so I'm going to take the back wheel off. There's a master spline in this brake actuator lever, and I've actually got it around the wrong way. So clever dick, I've got to turn that around so this hangs down at the bottom. Easy mistake to make. Pop that out, pop the axle out, and yeah, take it off. That was painless, just sort of slid out. Yeah. Just pull it back a bit like that. Take the drum off. Can I just swing him around? Yes, I can. That's about the size of it. Put it back on. Only a very small adjustment. Wee bit unpleasant. Oh, pardon me, and inconvenient because that is too short. I thought it might be the 750 one. The 750's got one on. It seems to be the right size. I'm wondering. I don't remember getting one with this bike. I'm wondering if that's an XL one. Could be. I'm not sure. So even with a shorter arm, you can see that's right forward just to make that rod reach here. So it's clearly wrong. So I don't think it matters at the moment just for getting the bike running. But of course it is an item that needs to be addressed with roadworthy or for roadworthy. So let's put the brakes on that for the moment. Pardon the pun. And I'll take it off this stand and I'll just tie that up for now until I figure out what's going on with it. Right now, well, we've got an issue with the starter solenoid. It's not working, so I might have to raid the 750s, I'm not sure. I've got the plugs out and I'm just sort of checking the oil pressure and running the engine with, or running the starter, waiting for oil to appear here. And also checking, I can't find my little torch, also checking in here and watching the oil level go down. So I know the pump's all primed and it's all working properly. It's going to use a fair bit of oil to begin with because it's everything's just empty in it. So we just run it through on the starter. I will have to check the, or connect the battery up to watch the oil pressure gauge once I'm convinced. But it's still going down. So it's still, you know, filling the oil filter and that sort of thing. I can't yet see. I haven't been running it for long. I can't see oil down in there yet. I'll just chuck that on. Oh, sorry about my shaky camera. I'm just... So I've got oil pressure, and it takes forever and a day for that to come back on. Which means I've got very tight bearing clearances. There you go. Right, so that's good. One thing this switch does, it's got the pass thing. I've lost the, I've got the knob, but I've lost the nut for it. That's quite cool. I don't think the original CB350 had that, but that's a good thing to have. I popped the points cover off because I couldn't remember which was 1 and 4 and which was 2 and 3. The blue is 1 and 4, which is this coil. I don't like those wires, they're a little bit too light duty. I might change those out. But at least I know it's this coil that's 1 and 4. This is number 4, 1's on your left. I'm going to leave a, I'm going to cut it about there, I guess. The problem with these, well, that's not too bad. Some of them at the ends, the conductor's not central, which was a bit disconcerting. I'll just cut a bit of this off and feed it back up the cable. And that will give us, this is an N1. It came with new caps. I don't know if they're resistor or what, but I'm just going to screw this thing on. Feels around about done. And so that's probably even too long there. Maybe I'll redo that, I don't know. But at least then we can check the spark by grabbing a plug. These are used plugs. And just doing that. And the same with the 2 and 3. So these are 2 and 3 here. So that has to be cut back a fair way. And, you know, without putting it under too much duress, I'm tipping there. I hope I'm right because that's an awful lot. Oh, we should have some spark. That might help. Let's have a look. Beautiful. What's this one like? Beautiful. These two. Focus. Do you want some out of focus sparks? We'll try. Sweet. That works. Right, so we'll turn that off. Now what we're ready to do is put fuel in. We've got oil pressure, we've got spark, just need fuel. And I've got my little auxiliary tank here. The 350's tank is ready to go on, the petcock's all done, the fuel tab. The only thing is I want to be able to just look around everything when it's running. If that all checks out, then we'll put the fuel tank. The time's upon us. We've got a couple of trusty tools like a fire extinguisher here. We've got to fuel it up. Hopefully it doesn't leak everywhere. We're nearly there. Oh, come on, you get going. Alright, we're not running on all cylinders, I don't think. This is quite confusing because I'm getting the timing for 1 and 4 is perfect. I've checked all that. We checked for spark before, and I don't know why it's not firing, because if it's getting fuel. I've also taken, just to loosen the thing on the bottom of the carby. Doesn't smell like it's getting fuel in there though. But I know that's got plenty of fuel in it. I know nothing's blocked. I wonder if alright, so I'll leave that out and I'll just check for spark again, just on the off chance. The other thing I can do, and I didn't actually touch the mixtures. I don't think that's just an idle mixture, so when you rev it, it should come good, but they're pretty sensitive. Let's see where that is. It's right in. I'll just take that out a bit. And look, all we can do is just try. The fuse was playing up though. I had no continuity until I jiggled the fuse on the other side, so I have to get into that and sort of investigate what's going on with that. Which is positive. Yep, that started and sparked and did everything it was supposed to do, so maybe it's going to come good now and be a pain in the ass and not tell me what was wrong. Let's see what happens here. Alright, let's go. It's got a miss in it, but it's better than it was. Let's see what's going on. Maybe it's just a fuel thing. Yep, that's alive. That's alive. That's alive. They're all alive, which is good. Gary Penny taught me that one. I was going around touching him. He goes, "No, use water." I was like, "No, okay then." Well, that's better than a fire in a spacesuit. That's good. A little bit of smoke, that's the residual from in the cylinders and all that sort of stuff. That'll burn off. I think what we'll do, just to make sure the carburetor is getting properly fed, I think we'll put the fuel tank on. There's no leaks. There was a little leak here when I undid that thing there just to make sure there was fuel in, but that's all dry. And we're already getting heat into it. That's actually pretty good. It's better than I thought. I might, now I know that I'm not taking carburetors off again, or at least not in the meantime, I might pop the snorkel on, the little manifold to the air filter, and put the tank on. They're the spacers I made. They're really dodgy. It's just hex stock. We used to have a shaper, and I used to be able to make nicely shaped bits and pieces, and there was a drill mill in the room that I work in as well, but that's all gone, so it's just hex stock with a 6mm thread tapped into it, and then the through bolt here. That's the OE bolt, which is too long, so it's just got spacers either side of it. It is dodgy, don't say anything, I know what I've done, but you know what, it'll do for now. So, actually, what I might do, I might make up some new wires. I'm just not wrapped with that, you know, they're very light duty. I think eventually they might fail, or at least be put under a fair bit of duress, because they're only very thin. And anyway, whatever the case, the tank can go on, and this stuff down here, and I can get rid of that. It's all testing alright so far. So I'll do that and we'll be back. I've been putting this airbox manifold, for want of a better term, back in. I thought I'd pull that solenoid out and have a look at it, and it actually works, which doesn't surprise me because there's obviously a wiring mishap somewhere. But what I'm wondering, if I just plug that across there, she's working, and it wasn't clicking before, so probably difficult to see. Battery feed, that's the bike feed there that screws underneath one of the posts, that one. And so it's the way the solenoid is actually wired through those two. That's not anything. Where can I put you? Look that up on there. That looks stable. Cool. What I want to see is what's coming out of these wires. Now if I turn the ignition on, that's got a positive feed, but I'm wondering, that should be earthing through. But see that? So what's happening is it's got a positive constant feed, and it's also getting a signal down here, so it's just getting two positives, it's not earthing. So what we can do, what that might be, is the fact that it's a non-gen switch, and, oh actually the brake light's on. Oh, I better do something about that. Yeah, so what that means is that starter switch might be configured differently, so instead of earthing through the switch, it's providing voltage through the switch, and that's the only problem it's got. So I might just put a little earth straight down and substitute that black one with a female bullet, and then hook that up, and that way that can just float. It's insulated, so it shouldn't be a problem. Right, so that's done. All I've done is run the other two from the solenoid there. One goes off to the switch, the start switch, and this other one has just got a little earth on it to that point there. The other one that was on the original wiring is just tucked in behind. It's insulated, so that'll be fine. And if we need power for anything else, that's fine as well. Toyota Starlet flasher can and Toyota Starlet horn behind there. That'll do. I still haven't sorted that out. I'm going to put the tank on now, and I should really wipe this off with thinners and all that sort of stuff to get it looking schmick again. And we'll take it outside and start it up. The only problem is starting it in here, you hear all the mechanical noise. It's a bad acoustic in a garage environment, so outside you'll get more of an understanding of how it really sounds. Because in here it sounds great to me, but on camera it doesn't, so we'll take it outside and see how we go. Excuse our very shabby backyard. We cleaned it up for the spring, and we still haven't cleaned it up. I guess the first thing to do is to gas it up and see how she goes. What's the tank on? The tank is on stop, right? How's she looking? Dry, that's always a start. Here's the filter. It's behind over there. Is that flowing? That's reserve. Water on. I can't see. I don't know if that's flowing. I've not done any carburetor adjustments, nothing. This is just so I can start it and wind the video up, basically. So I'm trying off the, connecting it to a car battery, a small car battery. This is for the MG, this one. And all being well, we shall get some joy. Doesn't going to earth anywhere or touch anything, is it? No, it doesn't look too bad. Right, let's have a look. How's the brake light looking? Good. Okay. Really choke? I can remember which is choking. Let him warm up a bit. Let's switch for this. There we go. Lots of black smoke. I do have to set the mixtures up on it, but otherwise sounds a bit rich to me, actually. We're getting a bit of unburned fuel coming out. And it sounds like there's a vacuum leak too. That's classic vacuum leak. But see how it glides down eventually. Yeah, I'm going to have to work on that. That's about all I got now. It's running very well, except it needs some work on the carburettors. Probably put that this thing here on too soon, because I might be pulling them off again. But on the whole, the engine sounds fantastic. There's no knocks, nothing funny going on there. Just a bit of an irregular idle, and it's also running a tiny bit ridge. I think what we'll do, I've got another load of stuff going to the platers. I'm just going to take these off and replate those. But aside from that, I think it's all good. So on that note, we'll wind this one up. Thanks very much for watching. Enjoy the classic and I'll see you soon. What do you reckon? Jesus.